Hi, I'm Katie Gavanis, an educator with the Center for Alaskan Coastal Studies, and this is my friend Johanna. And you may also see our dog Bailey. We decided to take advantage of this beautiful spring afternoon here in Washington State and come out and do a plant walk. And we're looking specifically for plants that are budding or blooming here in Washington that are also familiar to South Central Alaska, where I live and where the Center for Alaskan Coastal Studies is located. So this is a sneak preview of some of the plants you may see bursting out there in the next few weeks as spring progresses. And we're looking especially for plants that can be good food or good medicine. Before we meet the plants that we're going to learn about today, I want to take a moment to acknowledge that we here are on the land of the Suquamish Reservation in Washington State, and that this land has been stewarded or taken care of by the Suquamish people and many other Coast Salish people for generations, and that relationship continues to this day. And I also want to recognize that the lands and water where the Center for Alaskan Coastal Studies is located in South Central Alaska are the ancestral homelands of the Dena'ina Athabaskan people and the Supiaq-Alutiiq people, and those cultures also continue to thrive in that area. And a lot of the knowledge that I'm going to share with you today comes from those indigenous peoples and their relationships with the plants. Johanna, this is one of my favorite plants of spring. Do you know what it is?
Nettle.
What kind of nettle?
Stinging nettle.
And why is it called stinging nettle, Joe?
Because the really large hairs have a chemical and they'll sting you. Ow.
Yeah, if you look closely at these nettle leaves and especially the stem, you can see these hairs there. And when those hairs break, they release a chemical onto your skin that causes a sting. And some people it's a really strong reaction, and for some people it's not as strong of a reaction. But one of the really cool things about nettle is that if you get a little sting, which it looks like Johanna might have gotten a little sting from this nettle over here, you can actually crush up the leaves of the nettle carefully, maybe with gloves on, and you can put that crushed leaf on the sting and it'll help to ease some of the pain. There are some other plants that will help with that as well. Nettle isn't only good for curing its own sting, it's also a really important food and medicine and fiber. And one of my favorite things to do with nettle is to eat it. It's really high in vitamins, especially vitamin A and C and iron, and it also has a lot of protein in it. How do you eat nettle, Joe?
I usually like to find the ones that grow around me and my family say it's okay. And I usually like to eat it in soup and pasta.
Yeah, so Johanna brings up a really important point. Before you eat any of these plants, you want to check with adults you trust and make sure that they say it's okay and they know that it is a plant that is edible, because there are some lookalikes around that could maybe taste bad or even be unhealthy or dangerous for you to eat. But nettle, like I said, is really nutritious. It's really good for us if you can get past the stings. So you can do that when nettle is raw by carefully picking a leaf, maybe with gloves on, or just very carefully from the top, and then smush it up so that you crush all of those stinging hairs, and then you can eat it. The safer route, though, is to cook the nettle. Cooking takes away the sting. It won't affect us in the same way, so you want to steam it or saute it or boil it, I guess. And then we like to eat it in lasagna like you would use cooked spinach, but you can also have it in soups, like Johanna said, or with eggs in an omelet, or with pasta, or lots of other different combinations. But there's one more really cool use for nettle that I wanted to mention, and that is the stem of the nettle is really fibrous. So once this nettle grows bigger, it stops being good for people to eat. It actually produces some chemicals that are hard for our bodies to digest once that plant is more mature. So you only want to eat it when it's in this young, tender stage. Once it's older, though, the stem of the nettle, like I said, is full of fibers, and those fibers can be used once it's dried and soaked. You can make nets out of them, or cords, or rope, and it's really, really strong. So it's a pretty cool use for nettle, and you can always remember that because the word net is right there in the name nettle.
Can I eat this?
Yeah, you could eat that if you wanted to. What do you think it tastes like, Johanna?
Sure, the strongest